Hello, everybody, and welcome to the channel. A big interview today with Laura Mariu. Now, there are a few people in the world who can say they've played in 5 different World Cups and they'll be heading into their sixth. Laura Mariu is one of them, the New Zealand legend who's going to be representing Canada at the 2021 World Cup. And the tournament is just about to begin, so I thought this is the perfect time to get this out. We're talking everything about her time in Rugby League, about her time in the World Cup, about why she decided to jump Canada from New Zealand, and a lot more. So without further ado, here's the big interview with Laura Mariu. So, the first question, I'm really curious about this. Could you tell me your journey with the Canada Ravens and how you managed to become a part of this team? I know it's obviously through your mother's side, where the Canadian heritage comes from. But could you tell us, how did you get involved with the team? I just find it incredible how this came about.
Yeah, no, I had my last test match with the Q Ferns in 2018. That was against the Jillaroos, the Australian side, and unfortunately, I received an injury. I dislocated my shoulder, so that put me out. And then my journey from there, I don't know, there was sort of some either some miscommunication or something, but I sort of never heard back from NZRL, which then prompted me to make a decision as to whether I should go elsewhere. And luckily, fortunately for me, my mum was born in Canada, so that gave me an opportunity to, represent my mum, represent Canada. And from there, I sort of made contact with the Canadian Ravens, and that's the start of that process.
So it was you who reached out to them and asked about, what was the conversation like? Is it am I
I was pretty I didn't go in there with any sort of in this day and age with the women's game, you need an agent and all this and that, but I sort of just went direct. I heard about the tryouts and then found out what the coach's contact details, and pretty much made contact from there, and that's pretty much how it all unraveled. Yeah.
So I'm presuming you were based in New Zealand at the time. So obviously, I presume you get on the flight, you fly over, you go for the trials. I mean, it's a huge commitment, isn't it, to fly halfway across the world to commit to Canadian Rugby League? Tell me about that.
Well, I didn't make it to Canada due to COVID. Not being allowed out of the country. So I actually had never met the team or went through that process of tryouts. So it was just a matter of me just maintaining game time back home and following whatever, the coaches expected from us. Yeah.
So that's fascinating. So the game with Ireland, which took place last night, was that the first time you've played with the team in a competitive game?
Yeah, that was the first time. So that was my first time actually, playing with the girls. I have absolutely no idea what they bring to the team. And just, trying to figure out those combinations, understanding where players play, as you can imagine. So yeah, it was a bit of a first. I wasn't going in with a whole lot of expectations. I just wanted to get a feel for the team and how I fit in with their style.
You just had your game, didn't you, against Ireland, and it was a really close encounter. Can I ask, what did you learn from that initial experience with the team?
I think most of them have a union background. So physically they're able, like they were so physical yesterday and able to defend, able to attack. It's just the technicalities of rugby league, and obviously Canada is still in their development phases of the game, still introducing it to these players. So that was something that was definitely highlighted yesterday. Still learning the game. Just a little lacking a bit of experience there.
Considering your vast experience in the game, would you say you've got a sort of a mentoring role in the team, showing a lot of these union players sort of the ropes when it comes to league?
Yeah, no, I mean the coaches, pretty much given me the role as, almost like a player mentor, coach on the field, which I appreciate that he's given me that opportunity to sort of speak up and address anything that needs to be addressed if need be. He obviously has confidence in me to speak with the players on even on their behalf as coaches. So yeah, that's pretty much my role.
With regards to the World Cup now, it's not an easy group. You're going to be taking on England. You're going to be taking on PNG and Brazil are in the mix as well. What are the goals and ambitions ahead of the tournament? Is it just to put on the best performance that you can, or is this just another step in Canada Rugby League, Canada Ravens growing?
Yeah, I guess it's a stepping stone for them. But ultimately, whenever you go into a World Cup situation, you want to win, and you do whatever you can at whatever costs. It's one of those. It's a difficult one. I've been a part of campaigns with the Kiwi Ferns, where in my early days we were on a winning streak where we won our first 3 World Cups, and then on the latter end of it we come second to Australia. So they're dominating the game. Geez, I've just forgotten what the question was now. But yeah, no, I think in terms of Canada, I guess it's just trying to formulate that belief that anything is possible. And with my experiences with World Cup campaigns, it really comes down to who gels the best during that time. So I mean, that's a key focus for me anyway, as a player coming into the squad.
Can I ask, your family, are they all back home? Will they be watching, or is anybody with you there in England?
Yeah, they're at home. My fiance and our kids will be over in a couple of weeks, so I'm really looking forward to them being here. This was probably my last campaign of my career, so I'm just going to love the fact that they're there with me to finish it off. So yeah.
How does it feel knowing that you're the only player left to have played in every World Cup and you're going into your 6th one? I mean, I don't think there's a lot of people on the planet who can say that.
Makes me feel a little bit old, but I'm really grateful. I mean, I think I've come from the old era into the new era, so I'm feel very fortunate that I've been able to experience both sides, and both sides bring such good. I've learned good values, and especially in the older era, things were pretty tough back then. We didn't have the support that they receive now, but we didn't kind of care about that stuff. We worked really hard to we had to pay for our flights, we had to pay for accommodation and do all the hard yards, and obviously those hard yards have paid off because we've been able to pave the way for the younger girls coming through, and look where we're at now. Everything's paid for, flights, accommodation, just those things that make it a little bit easier.
I presume you really feel like that your generation has really laid the platform, hasn't it, for what has come in the last few years? I mean, as you say, they're playing in massive stadiums and through massive crowds.
Yeah.
The game over the short period of time has dramatically changed, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Now they've introduced the NRLW, which has added so much value to the women's game. We're getting so much more exposure. It's just grown and developed so much throughout time, and I'm just grateful to be a part of both sides and being able to pave that way for the future of women's rugby league.
It's very hard to find still stats and information from previous World Cups. I'm just wondering if I could ask you a few questions. You've played in 5 tournaments. Sorry, this is going to be a 6th one. You've won 3 of them. So does this mean you've literally lost 2 games in your World Cup career, the 2 finals, the 2 last ones? Would I be right in saying that?
Yeah, you're probably right in saying that in terms of the World Cups. Yeah. So I've lost 2 games.
That's a pretty incredible number again.
It's pretty cool. Like 2000, I remember, because 2000 it was here, so I was pretty pretty fresh and new to the game. I was only 19, and I just played in my normal, the footy, made my national sides, and then from there was selected. So it was kind of like one of those things that just sort of happened, and I loved the game and I stayed with it.
When you think back to the 3 World Cups that you've won, again, there aren't many people on the planet from any sport who can say they've conquered the world on 3 different occasions. When you think back, what what do you make of it all? Obviously, you're not finished yet. There's still one more World Cup to come. Who knows? Who knows about the future? There could be even more. I don't know. But
Anything's
as things
possible with
stand,
that.
as things stand, 3 World Cup wins is an insane achievement. Insane achievement. What do you make of that?
I don't know. Oh, geez. I've just had a good, I don't know, sorry, it's just one of those questions I don't really think about. But yeah, I mean, I feel really blessed to have been a part of 3 World Cup campaigns and have been world champions. I think what's always kept me grounded is representing my family. Representing my family and the people back home in New Zealand. Just knowing that we make them proud. Again, like I previously said about the old era, we didn't get much exposure back then, and so maybe that's why I'm probably downplaying it a bit, because that was the time, that was a time and place back then, and now if there's so much exposure, you can express and your family get to watch you play, whereas back then, you had to be there to see it, kind of thing. But yeah.
Looking at the tournament, I'm just wondering what are your thoughts ahead of this event? Australia, New Zealand, according to the bookmakers, are the clear runaway favourites. What do you make just looking at the tournament, looking at the teams involved? Every game, I mean, in England is on the BBC on TV. What do you make of the event?
Oh, I think it's awesome that it's become very inclusive. That there's so much going on now. We're playing alongside the men, and then we've got it's an amazing event, and it's just showing that how you can work in collaboration with other groups and bringing it together. But yeah, you're right. Obviously, Australia and New Zealand are, everyone's betting on them that they'll be in the finals. But it's great to see other countries having the opportunity to be a part of this too. It's the only way the game is going to develop, if we have people outside the box being a part of this competition.
Women's Rugby League in Australia has grown immensely, incredibly. Yeah, as you said, NRL, the Women's NRL over there. In England, it's been a similar story with the Women's Super League. Yes. The competition started a few years ago. It was pretty low key, 4 teams involved, but now there's even 2 women's super leagues now. We've got one for the elite teams, another one for the teams developing. It's growing exponentially. I'm wondering, do you keep an eye on the English game, the English Super League? Do you ever catch any of the grand finals or anything like that?
I was. It's funny you say that, because in 2020 with the COVID, around that time I was actually looking at coming over here to be a part of the Super League, but due to COVID, obviously that opportunity, wasn't able to see that opportunity through. But in terms of expanding the game, it'll be awesome to have opportunities for people outside of England come and play in the Super League. You know what I mean? We've got the NRLW in Australia. I think it's fitting that people look elsewhere and go to UK as well.
You've dropped a bit of an exclusive there, if I'm honest. You've dropped a bit of an exclusive there, if I'm honest. You mentioned one of the Super League teams. I think I remember this story. Was it Castleford?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, it was 2 years ago now, but I was definitely interested in coming over. I approached a couple of teams. There was one team that was interested, in terms of living arrangements, I guess you could say. But it wasn't really about that. It was an opportunity and to experience something different, and again, exposing the game and having other people outside of the UK being a part of it, which would have been awesome. I would have loved it.
You captained the New Zealand Warriors in 2018 when obviously the Women's NRL kicked off. What do you think is the next step in order to grow the sport even further, in order to grow Women's Rugby League even further? What has to happen in your opinion? What's the next step? Is it an emphasis on growing participation? Is it an emphasis on increasing the number of teams in the league? What do you think is the next step?
I guess it's about creating those pathways for our younger generation, and especially back in New Zealand, just being staunch in what that is and where where that leads to. You know, back in the days, it used to be you played in the women's comp, you made the national side, and then you were selected for New Zealand or whatever. But now that the NRLW has been introduced, it's almost considered as international, if you know what I mean. Like, it is a step up from national kind of competition. So I guess it's ensuring that those pathways are there and those development programs are kicking in, especially with our younger generation. So they know where they're going to be, they know where they want to aim for or go through. Yeah. Does that make sense?
What? Yeah, sorry. Sorry, I stopped you there.
No, I was just saying, did that make sense?
Just one couple of questions just to finish things up, because I was doing a bit of research and somebody told me that Rugby League World Cups are not only the only World Cups you've been at. I've been told you've been at the Softball World Cup and the Tag Football World Cup. I'm just wondering whether you could tell me about that, because that's something incredible as well.
Oh yeah, so before I played rugby league, I was a softballer, and yeah, when I was 15, I made the New Zealand women's softball team, and then yeah, fortunately, I was able to be a part of the World Cup, which was in '98, I think, yeah, which was in Japan. So I played in the women's softball World Series and tag football World Series, which we actually, and I'm quite proud of that too. Like, I'm proud we won the tag mixed World Cup for the open grade. So yeah,
that's incredible. When was the tag football event?
That was 2012.
Wow. So that was during your rugby league days. So you must have taken some sport, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you were able to sort of manage and balance sport. Tag football's in summer in New Zealand, whereas league is in the winter. So it was just kind of a good turnover. Yeah.
And just on that, what made you go into tag football, for instance? Did you like the sport anyway and decided to participate in, or were you already participating in the sport?
I mean, I used to play touch rugby as well, so they're both different. Touch football, and then I stopped playing touch, and tag football was quite popular in New Zealand. And again, I just was introduced to another sport and just thought I'd give it a crack, and that's pretty much how I end up being where I am. Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty incredible. So 3 different World Cups. You've played in 5 Rugby League World Cups, won 3 of them. I don't know. That is you're putting humanity to shame with the whole achievements.
No.
There is one thing I'd like to bring up as well, because I was reading up about you, and you received a medal from the Queen for your services to Rugby League, and obviously the monarch, Queen Elizabeth, passed away recently. Did you get to meet Queen Elizabeth? Was it actually from her?
No, I wasn't able to meet her, but we had a ceremony back in New Zealand. But yeah, no, I was just extremely proud to receive that award. Yeah, no, it was quite funny when I received the letter about whether I accepted or not. I was like, what the heck's this? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even know what it was until someone explained it to me. But now I feel extremely proud. I mean, my grandparents were born in England, so I actually have English heritage as well. They're from Northampton. Yes, I've always felt a connection with England just as much. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Technically, you could have played for England.
Well, I could have, but because we're a first tier nation, we can't play. Yeah. I wouldn't have been able to play for England, even if I wanted to. Yeah.
And just lastly, how are you doing? How are you? Rugby league is obviously such a physical sport. How are you managing physically, and how long do you think you can continue to be playing at what is the highest level there is?
Yeah, it is a physical sport. When I add all the years up, it's a long period of time to put your body under that kind of pressure. Yeah, I mean, I've had my fair share of injuries. I've had about 7 operations. Yeah. three knee surgeries, 2 shoulders, my wrist and my elbow. That's me. And then all the other niggles that come with playing sport. So I'm actually I'm thankful for my body. It's helped. It's definitely not not as agile as it used to be, you know. But it's done me good, hanging
That's a
in
lot. Yeah, yeah.
there.
But so just thinking ahead into the near future, you mentioned I think already before that this might be your final World Cup. If it is, if looking back at your legacy, do you think you had a wonderful career? But do you think how many young girls you've inspired to play, and how many people have picked up the rugby ball, especially girls, because of what you have achieved in the sport? It must make you very proud.
Oh, extremely proud. I know a lot of us have done the hard yards in order for others to have the opportunities they have today. And I can see a bright future with the game. Where we have so much more support, more exposure, and it doesn't. What am I trying to say? It's not all going to go to waste anyway. But yeah, just grateful.